You could accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion.
What do you mean, biblical?
What he means is Old Testament, Mr.
Yes.
Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff.
Exactly.
Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
We don't normally get this kind of action.
It's for us. It's just for
exciting.
us. This is the way our street is.
Oh, dear. It's because you guys are here.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Know-It-Alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the No Show. That's right. We are ready to go. Woo. Playoffs have occurred. We're going to talk about the playoffs last week, and we're going to talk about the playoff games coming up this week.
Wow, that's some real shit, Joe. That's
It
some
is.
good stuff
Let's
right there.
go.
All right, yeah, it was pretty exciting. Who would have known even some of these games? I mean, we talked about it the week before the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers rested some guys, and they're allowing the Browns to get into the playoffs, just letting them in there. And look what happened. It came back to bite them in the ass there after it was all over, said and done. And how about the Washington football team? You know, Alex Smith's unable to play. They put Heineke in, and he goes toe-to-toe for a little bit and is able to hang with them for a little. And it goes down to a final play in the fourth quarter here to finally finish it off for them. But Washington played hard against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They sure did. The only disappointing thing for me, anyway, was that the Washington defense seemed like they didn't show up. You know? So that was a little bit disappointing for me. But Heineke was a pleasant spotlight of the evening. He definitely put on a good display. For the Washington football team offense, and they were able to move the ball at times, and they scored some points. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. They didn't have enough enough gas in the tank to get the win, and they just fell short.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got it coming already here, and obviously Restream isn't working right here. But I'm thinking it's Nathaniel McWhorter is in the house with us tonight. He says he's 4-2. Yeah, you did pretty good. I was 4-2 as well, and we went back over here the lines here, and Joe only lost one game last week, man. You know, settling it down, and yeah, but I think it was all that he had the Browns in that game. But just a couple surprises here.
Yeah, you
for
can't.
the
And that's another thing too.
Wild card weekend
is the Browns-Steelers rivalry game. They know each other so well that if you have a chance to knock out or possibly knock out one of your rivals from getting into the playoffs, which could hurt you, don't you play the whole season out? I know the record didn't matter to them. They're one of the higher seeds and everything, so they weren't going to lose that. But knock out. If you have a chance to possibly knock them out, knock out the Browns, knock out that division rival so they don't come back to haunt you in the playoffs, which is exactly what happened. The Cleveland Browns, they came in with a lot of confidence, and they were hot late in the season as they got into the playoffs, so they were a dangerous team to contend with, especially for the Steelers, and now they're looking back saying, what did we just do?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll just get right into it here. We're talking about how the debacle here for the Steelers, they talked so much trash here. Like, they disrespected that team altogether here.
To be fair, Juju was the one.
Yeah, let's bring it up here. Here we actually have the quote here right here where he says, I think they're all still the same Browns team I play every year. I think they're nameless, gray faces, and they have a couple of good players on their team. But at the end of the day, the Browns is the Browns, which he doesn't even speak proper English there. So who is the dumb one here in this situation here, for calling him out? He has been called out this whole season though for things that he's done.
For sure.
Dancing on the logos and stuff before games and stuff, and all those games that he did that, he was getting beat. Those teams would come up and beat him. The Bills had done it and things like that. And even up until now, he stands firm to that belief, even though he just got beat. I think he's just a little embarrassed, so he's just going to stick with it because it makes him feel better. But then I've even heard that too, that he's willing to go. He wants to maybe look into going to other teams that he can better his brand, bigger markets than Pittsburgh and things like that.
Well, I mean, that whole rumor or report that was made out there, apparently Juju squashed that almost immediately when it came out. And we've seen this time and time again from players and athletes where something gets leaked out, then they're like, oh, no, I never said that. We'll see how it all unfolds. I know that he's expressed a lot of interest in staying with Pittsburgh, but does the franchise at this point now want Juju as a Steeler? I'm not really so sure about that because this year, out of all the years, his contract year, you would think that he would have an amazing season as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of drops, more drops than he has had as a Steeler, and that's got to be concerning for Pittsburgh. I don't think, and they don't tolerate. Steelers are one of those organizations that do not tolerate players getting out of line. You know what I mean? And now that Juju is kind of like being this outspoken entity of himself saying, the same old Browns and this, that, and the other thing, and dancing on logos and doing the TikToks and all this put together, the team might just be comfortable with moving on from Juju, and they're saying, hey, look at our future. We got Chase Claypool in his rookie year, really made an impression on the team and the organization on what his future is looking like. Very, very, very positive. And you got other names like Deontay Johnson. You can poke fun. He had a few drops as well, but he's working hard. He's keeping his mouth shut. You know what I mean? And also James Washington. Don't forget about him. So they could be very comfortable moving on from Juju, having those three guys as their starters, and maybe possibly in this upcoming draft, maybe they take another receiver or free agency or what have you. So Pittsburgh's in a good position. They're the ones with all the chips on their side of the table. They're comfortable. They don't have to go out and sign Juju to big money, and they could feel free to just let him go into free agency.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think up there about the Pittsburgh situation? Let us know in the comments. But I don't know if they are even in so much of a good position, too, because if the Lions, I heard they're looking at Kevin Colbert here for their GM to run their offices there. He's been a big part of this franchise, too. You want to talk about being able to draft that wide receiver talent. He's been there since 2000, and look at what they've been able to pull off. Now, say he leaves, so now you're looking at this upcoming draft with another front office guy here that you don't, not used to what the Steelers do, maybe has a different game plan. And Ben Roethlisberger says, oh, no wonder, guys, it's okay. I'm coming back for another season after having multiple interception games and things like that. So I think Steelers fans are feeling uncomfortable about that. And again, with this offense, how it has been running with the dink and dunk and no running the ball, when they have the running talent there, they have the running backs that can run it, and they just weren't doing it. I think there's a lot of questions here, and it's unsettling. As far as you're concerned, what you're saying, though, too, is they will be willing to let him go. I mean, I would do that, too. I mean, because he hasn't really done anything. And you can't say, I got to lock into this big money. He's going to be asking for that contract, so now you got to pay him. No, you don't, because you saw what Chase Claypool has been able to do for them. Unfortunate thing, though, he's been kind of a little bit of a loud mouth through this whole thing, too, in a sense. I think if they could stifle some of that, Mike Tomlin gets into them again and try and stifle some of this issues that they're having there with being vocal out there with the media. You saw him deal with it with Antonio Brown when he would be going live on Facebook Live, like in the locker room, things like that, and the antics that he would do.
It's not even at that level.
It's getting there where it's out in the public already. He was hiding a lot of that stuff when Antonio Brown was there. You didn't get to see Antonio Brown the way he was until after he had already left. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. Right. Now you see it out there all the time.
I mean, that's for any team, though. You could say that about anybody. I mean, there's players on a lot of teams that are just outlandish and they just speak their mind.
Nathaniel McWhirt's in the house. He says you could see Juju to the Patriots even. They could use their wide receiver. And he thinks about what they do.
They don't have
one. And even Edelman kind of throwing the signs out there that he could be walking away even. So they maybe lose Julian Edelman there. So I mean, Patriots could have a rough road. You want to talk about a team with a rough road here.
And Edelman, the problem with him is injuries. Lately, he is a little older. He is late in his career, so injuries do tend to come up more often than not. And who knows? Maybe Edelman decides to retire. I don't think he will, but it's kind of interesting now that you see this chink in the armor of the New England Patriots. What we've been that we've seen year after year, like they are the team to beat all the time. Now Brady leaves. They have no weapons. The quarterback they bring in Cam Newton just doesn't get it done. You're starting to see staff members willingly leave. Nick Caserio, who was a major focal point of the New England Patriots front office, he ends up leaving and taking the job with the Houston Texans as their new GM. And he's been sought after by many teams to be a GM. Now the Houston Texans finally land him after their second attempt, and now you're starting to see staff members, even coaching staff members, starting to look elsewhere of potentially moving from New England and getting a different job elsewhere. So that right there has got to tell you something. Yeah, Bill Belichick's still holding it down as the head coach, but you're starting to notice players wanting to leave. You're starting to notice staff members and front office personnel wanting to leave and looking for different avenues of work. That's a little telling right now with that organization. It's not as stable as it once was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of changes going on there with New England, and a lot of questions to be answered moving forward too with them in the offseason. But again, playoff time's rolling around here. We're excited about it. Let us know what you guys think out there in the comments. We appreciate it. If you haven't yet and you're new to the show here, just checking us out from the other groups that we share to, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Just follow football or look up Football on the Know show and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And also, if you're on Facebook checking us out, go ahead, become a group member too. We have over 500 some odd members here. We love to just talk football and news out here. We really, really appreciate the support out there. Appreciate it. But, yeah, I mean, the Steelers, that was a big game. Washington was a big game. The Seattle Seahawks, they kind of let me down. They're one of the teams that I lost my picks on. Yeah. Again, that was a tough one. I didn't know what I was going to get because you get the questions here. Jared Goff, bum thumb. Wolford's in there. He looked good like last week, week before last year. And now he just did all right, too, here and hung with the Seahawks. The Seahawks, the offense couldn't get it going at all. And there you go. Now they go and fire Schottenheimer, too, after it's all said and done. Moves being made this week. After this wild card week, it was Wild West out there and firing everywhere at everybody. It was nuts, dude. Everybody was going. There it goes. You want to talk about people fired and being gone? No, Dan Quinn, he goes and interviews with the Cowboys, and he gets a D coordinator job over there for the Dallas Cowboys. Right. How about that? That's some news there, too. See, you get a new, fresh start there with Mike McCarthy.
Exactly. Maybe the change of environment is going to work out better for him. We won't know until we see when he gets his hands on this defense, but or lack thereof. But it didn't work in Atlanta. Dan Quinn, when he was brought in with the Atlanta Falcons, a lot of people said, oh, okay, defensive-minded guy. They brought him in. He's going to shore up this defense. And they were already had talent on that defense. It was just to the point where this past season, they were kind of fed up. They didn't see any improvement in his, 5 years he was there? How long was he there? He was there for a while. But in his tenure with the Atlanta Falcons, the defense never improved. It never got better to the way that that the Falcons were looking for. So even with talent that they brought in, through the draft, through free agency, it just nothing ever blossomed into a top 10 defense. So all in all, Dan Quinn's hire is an absolute failure in Atlanta. So now he gets fired. He moves on. Now the Cowboys go ahead and they roll the dice on him and say, hey, you're just going to be our D coordinator. Let's see what you can do just with that responsibility. Can you handle it? Let's wait and see. The Cowboys struggled mightily this past season. Yes, they were heavily injured, but also the defense just, even from jump, the defense just could never start on the right foot.
All right. Yeah, so that leads us to our next situation here, too. And that is the deal with Deshaun Watson here. Watson wants out here in Houston. In Houston, we have a problem here because, again, not only did it stem from what Bill O'Brien was doing with the team, they finally get rid of them. So I thought, maybe they would move forward here and what they got to get rid of him, and maybe that was part of the problem here with what they were doing.
Right.
They've been wanting Nick Caserio for a few years here. So they finally go and get this guy. But the problem is that Deshaun Watson said when you had got rid of Bill O'Brien that he wanted to be in the loop of when they go and hire their next guys and their next personnel. He wanted to be part of that. They left him out of the conversation here. They go get Nick Caserio, and that kind of rubbed him off wrong here. So now we're hearing along the lines that he wants out. Like really, really out. Like looking to stand out, not play, just trying to make the move. And it got leaked out that possibly wants to go to, the Dolphins or whatever. So you're hearing maybe Tua too in the trade and things like that. Miami has the picks. They have the cap space
capital,
too as
they have
well.
everything.
But it's just a lot of head scratchers all together though with this whole situation. And even Miami fans ready to give up on Tua already, Joe. I mean, what do you think about that?
It's not even the Dolphins, too. There's been rumors of like a few teams that would possibly entertain
I think
trade
a lot of
for
teams
Deshaun
would want to trade for him.
But here's the
Absolutely.
thing: is like but they've actually named teams like the Jaguars. They've mentioned the Raiders for some reason. They've mentioned Miami.
They always put the Raiders there because nobody believes in Derek Carr. That's what it is.
But here's the thing: is how can you not? Don't get me
yeah,
fired
I know,
up about that.
But I'm just saying, this is the media for you. The media
Yes.
hates the Raiders.
Well, they hate everybody, it seems like. They make all kinds of stuff up as we go. But anyway, the Miami Dolphins, this is what doesn't make sense. Is the Dolphins really entertaining this idea of bringing in – yes, is he more experienced than Tua? Absolutely. Is he proven? Absolutely. So that's what you're trading for. But – what's to say Tua isn't as good as Deshaun Watson? Isn't going to be maybe possibly better than Deshaun Watson? We don't know that answer right now because it's only been his rookie year. We don't have enough to go off of. But yes, you're getting Deshaun Watson, but also you're going to have to pay him more money. You're going to have to give up a lot more compensation just to get him on your team. You're giving away a draft pick that you truly believed in Tua. That was the whole thing. They handpicked Tua despite the injury he was coming back from, despite any doubts. They wanted Tua. They got him. That's their guy going forward, and they said as much. They said 2021, he's the starter. They've already announced it. There probably won't be a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah, you know what I mean? He might look
he had already said he had
go into free
somewhere
agency.
else. Mm-hmm.
So all in all, I thought you had total confidence and that's your guy. Now all of a sudden these reports come out. Now they could be just rumors. They could have some shred of truth to them. We don't know that right now. But let's just say if it is true, okay? They're entertaining that idea. What are you getting? Short term, it's going to work out for you. Short term. But if Tua pans out, long term, Houston's going to make out because not only are they getting Tua, in that part of that trade, but they're also getting some of your draft capital that they can utilize to make their team better. So, I mean, in the long run, Houston Texans might be sitting prettier than the Dolphins, and it's just a bad decision. So I think they're jumping the gun. We don't know how true this report is, but I think everybody's kind of jumping the gun in Miami if that's what they're really thinking. And, hey, it's a process. We all get it. It takes time to turn a team around, time to get better. But we've seen with the Dolphins this year that they are getting better, and they are competing. So if they have another good offseason, they could be really competing for this division next year, realistically.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, so that's something to look at. I mean, what teams are ready now, kind of in a sense, or they're going to start off with this base? Because that's the thing, too. Because Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause in his contract. So basically, he will waive it if it's for the right team. So he has a say in this whole thing altogether.
Yeah,
it's not like you're going to ship me away to this. Like, I know the Jets have room. They have cap room.
Oh, they got
have
a lot
two
of
number
room.
one picks. They got the one from Jamal Adams.
They got like $76 million under
so
the cap.
So then they can, work that pick in there, give their two number ones. If they're able to do that out of that Jamal Adams trade, get a Deshaun Watson over there, and then trade back Sam Darnold to the Texans maybe with that whole deal as well and get something. That's something, but then he would have to call be in on it. So where would he prefer going to where he has a chance to win? Dolphins, they're competing, but you also have the Bills in that division who are still in the playoffs right now and a true contender they're dealing with. You have to see Josh Allen twice a year, on this whole deal. And then you see what happens with the Jets and the Patriots after all that. But, I mean, that's something he's got to look into too. Is he going to be happy going to there? Another team who's looking for a quarterback? Washington. I haven't seen what kind of draft capital they have here, but they do have money. Yeah, and, Alex Smith, he's – at the end, just about, it was a miracle that he was able to come back and stuff like that here, so he's not going to be there future. Here, that's the thing is, with Deshaun Watson, you don't have to wait for development on, this. You have the package right there. The contract's in. Just take it and go, basically. It's self-prepared meal. Go. Bam.
But that's the thing is you gotta look at what they have. So the Redskins, but
they have a great defense.
The Washington football
team. The receivers have been
they got a really
good
defense.
They had there.
They have one great receiver. They need to build upon that. And Heineke's a nice bright spot on this team. Now they could further develop him, and maybe he could be their starter. But Alex Smith, we've noticed. The problem with him is, yes, he came back. It's a tremendous story. He came back from a major catastrophic injury. A lot of people didn't think, he might not even be able to walk again. He proved them wrong. And they definitely didn't think he was going to be able to play again. Proved them wrong as well. So tremendous, tremendous effort by Alex Smith's part. And he's proved everybody wrong. But now he sustains another big injury. He looks like, listen, Father Time is calling, Alex. And I think it is time, to face the hard truth that maybe you should think about retiring before you get even more hurt, and possibly the end result might not be walking.
There you go. It's pointless.
It is pointless to resist.
And as far as Deshaun Watson goes, one of the bigger points for him to want out of Houston is because he's not noticing growth in that organization. He's noticing a lot of subtraction, but not a lot of addition.
Oh, absolutely.
And Deshaun Watson, what really tipped the scales for him is when DeAndre Hopkins, his best friend, his go-to guy in Houston, was traded away for nothing, basically. That kind of just ended it. Bill O'Brien, he's ruined that relationship, and not to mention the relationship that Watson used to have with this organization. Now it's just kaput. He wants out. It doesn't even matter. I think for Watson, it might not even matter where. It might not even matter where, as long as the team's willing to build around him.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know if he's ready to build. That's the only thing with him sometimes. We catch up with some of the Nathaniel stuff here. He says, I think Washington should see what they have with Tyler Heineke. And he says here, when we talked earlier about the D.C. coordinator job here for the Cowboys, that Dan Quinn thinks it's better for them, but, not great. Yeah, who knows? Because, again, when you look back when he was with Seattle, they had all those great players there that they had drafted. So, I mean, when you get all that talent and you're able to produce like that on a defense, you saw what he was unable to do here with Atlanta when they had defensive players going down by injury and here and there and not having the talent there. There's a big difference. And Washington, Tyler Heineke, he played really well. I think there's some opportunities that he missed out in that game, but again, he wasn't expected to make a lot of those big throws. He kept it close in that, and that's why I think the Buccaneers are very vulnerable in this playoffs. For people to say that they were, a contender, that they were going to be able to make the Super Bowl, I don't really see it that much, which is kind of frightening in a sense, because yes, they were able to be 11-4 or whatever, 11-5, I think is the record. That they were able to make the playoffs here with that, but that talent, that team is so stacked, and to watch them, it's your eye test that you see. Watch what they're doing, how they're not being able to move the ball on offense. That defense, who still is ranked up there and ran by Todd Bowles, looks leaky at times. You know what I mean? They give up chunks of yards here and there. Keep going. You can score on them. And for the fact even that Todd Bowles is being interviewed for jobs even again, I think is mind blowing in a sense, where he has already failed as a head coach before.
Yes.
So why what do you see right now in Tampa Bay that's saying, oh, this guy is totally head coaching material right now at this point?
But that's the thing is everyone kind of, they get caught by, when they go window shopping, they get caught by the little flashy thing that catches their eye. And Todd Bowles right now is hot as a D coordinator. But we've seen him, like you mentioned before, like with the Jets. He was a head coach of the Jets, failed miserably. So, I mean, he's not a head coach, everybody. He's a great D coordinator. Don't get me wrong. He's done a miraculous job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in transforming them to a stout defense. But be aware, if you are going to bring this guy in as your head coach, I wouldn't put too much stock into Todd Bowles. He is going to let you down.
Yeah, I know. And then another team they bring out here, just real quick on Deshaun Watson, is the 49ers, that they possibly think that Jimmy G is out. Some I've heard even that Jimmy G's going back to New England. I've heard rumors about that too
happen.
as well. Who knows?
Here's the thing.
I bounced around the Jacoby Brissett thing last week, and now we've got Jimmy G possibly going back. We'll see.
So
there's a lot of stuff
here's
going
something
around.
like we've heard. Like there's been a lot of rumors out there. Carson Wentz, is he going to move on from Philly? Now we're hearing rumors about Carson Wentz has a quote-unquote significant chance of staying in Philly since the firing of Doug Peterson. So what does that tell you? Right there, that tells you that Peterson didn't have a good relationship with Wentz. They were probably on the odd side of the sides of the spectrum, and now that they've moved on, they chose to move on with Carson, not so much Peterson. Goodbye. And here's the telling part. You know how we criticized Doug Peterson for a while about his offense and how not very good it is and what kind of decisions he's making. The last time Philly was really good on offense was when Frank Reich happened to be the offensive coordinator for that team. And that's when Wentz had a phenomenal year. That's the guy that left. It wasn't Peterson now. We all know it. So Peterson was kind of being camouflaged there. So now with this whole Watson ordeal and whatnot, here are teams that have a lot of money that could possibly make this move and take on his contract. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've been rumored. They have $73 million under the cap going into the offseason. The Colts, who we don't know right now, Phillip Rivers may or may not retire. If he does, the Colts need to find a quarterback answer right there. And if they wanted to pursue a guy like Deshaun Watson, they got $72 million under the cap. The Jets, are they truly done with Sam Darnold? They got $70 million under the cap. The Patriots have $58 million under the cap. They could take on that contract, but Patriots aren't normally the organization that gives up a lot in compensation to get somebody. We already mentioned Washington. One other team is possibly the 49ers. Now, if the 49ers are truly done with Jimmy G and they are looking to upgrade, looking for somebody different, they could, and we know that they're a very aggressive organization. John Lynch, the GM there, is very aggressive. He'll make the aggressive move. He'll make the trade up in the draft. He's not afraid of that. So the Niners have $22 million under the cap as of right now, and they could take on his contract. So there's just a few teams that have the money, have the capability of pulling off a trade like this.
All right, here, and Nathaniel's got a question for us here. He said it's not full related to the topics we're doing, but we don't care.
No worries.
Whatever questions you guys have, we
Doesn't
don't
matter.
care. We change topic all the time. We just did within the topics that we have.
Yeah, it
so.
could be fantasy. It could be NFL teams, whatever you guys want to talk.
Yeah,
Let's
so
talk.
he says here, this is an interesting question here. He says, who do you guys think is the most underrated wide receiver of all time? That's a tough question. I mean, you're asking me to try and think.
The most
Right?
underrated?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to really try and go through everybody, but I mean, I think there's a bunch out there that are underrated. But try to think of some. The thing is, some guys get like overshadowed by some other guys. See, like I'm trying to even remember guys' names, but I always remembered. Oh, man, what the frig was his name? like opposite of Jerry Rice, the 49ers had a wide receiver there on the opposite side. And I want to say it was like maybe Wilson or something like that. But, I mean, he always looked good. And things like that. You see, so I think Art Monk, tell you the truth, even though he's, did he get nominated in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, because, I mean, I think he's underrated at times for some people. Because everybody goes to the Randy Moss, especially nowadays, because a lot of younger people don't know him. They're more recent. Randy Moss, T.O., and this and that, and these guys. But I think Art Monk, and I'm a Giants fan, I watched him a lot, and what he used to do all the time, he was just a dedicated and go-to target. Like, he never dropped the ball. Like, you knew when he was targeted, he had it. I think maybe Art Monk, maybe in a sense, even though he is a Hall of Famer, is that really underrated? I mean, I don't know. I just don't think he's appreciated as much.
Here's the
John
thing.
Taylor, that's what John Taylor. You're right. John Taylor, too, for when he was out there with the 49ers.
Absolutely. Cliff Branch, 100% is underrated. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He has better numbers than a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame, which is incredible that he's not in. But anyway, another guy that is already in the Hall of Fame, but maybe for some people they don't see him as an elite receiver, is Chris Carter. Chris Carter was seen more of a guy that moves the chains. He catches the touchdowns. He was like the red zone target for Minnesota. But a lot of people will say, he's not that good. Like, okay, he's a possession guy, blah, blah, blah. But the guy had phenomenal hands, ran great routes. He wasn't the fastest guy, but made every opportunity count. So there's another guy who may be already in the Hall of Fame, but he's a guy for some people that they discredit him a little bit.
By the way, those comments are coming from our buddy Don Webb, Joe.
There he is.
There he is. He's here. He's showing his face after Alabama just lost in the championship, huh?
Boy.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that. I was going to create this whole meme for you, for Don, just to rub it in a little bit. Man. But you know what? Us Michigan fans, we're above that. We're above all that catty stuff. So, great job on a great season. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys didn't win.
What's going on, Don?
Anyways.
He also says, Raiders' new DC. Yeah, that's Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley comes over from the Chargers after the firing of Anthony Lynn. All of his staff members are out there for the taking. Raiders swoop in and they grab hopefully a good enough D coordinator for the Raiders. I am being a little hesitant to saying he's really good because, listen, Raiders have hired plenty of D coordinators before and it just doesn't work out. So let's wait and see.
Don says, I am humbled. There you go.
Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
There you go.
That's right.
Oh, boy. Excellent. We have a good time here. It's a pleasure having you guys in here. So, Don, what do you think? That was a great question here by Nathaniel McWhort here that watched us here the past couple of weeks. And what do you think so far, Don, about what's going on in the NFL? The Steelers, would be awful confident and then getting beat and the Deshaun Watson wanting out. What do you think maybe is a good fit for Deshaun and for the team? What's better for both teams? What's here? What you got to say out there? But yeah, a lot of different headlines out there. Aaron Rodgers, even he's going out there. He was once a contestant on Jeopardy. Now he gets to host Jeopardy.
He's going to host Jeopardy.
Stand where Alex Trebek used to go, and he can host Jeopardy. Fulfill a childhood
after
dream.
An icon like that. Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's amazing stuff too. But we got an amazing playoffs here set up for you guys here. It's amazing.
Let's go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, let's kick into our in the know fact of the day here, Joe. It's time for that. We'll knock that out here. I have a little bit of an interesting one. We're talking Super Bowl, and these two teams are in the playoffs right now. So we're looking on January 15th, 1967. The Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10 in the first Super Bowl. It was the only Super Bowl that did not sell out. What do you think about that, Joe? Is the only one that did not sell out? Because people weren't sold on it yet. And that's your in the know fact of the day. That's right. Don Webb was 20 years old when that game was played.
True.
There you go. So, yeah, he goes, I think I think Watson to D.C. There you go. See, we just talked about that a little bit here, too. It fits. They need a guy right now. They have some cap space. And
they have $43 million under the cap.
I like the players that they have,
which they can take. But here's the thing you also got to remember, too, is they have that money. But they need that money to help this turnaround with the lack of receiving depth, with offensive linemen getting hurt. There's a lot of variables for Washington to overcome, and they got to have a good draft. So Could they pull off a move? Potentially. But, yes, they have the money right now to do it, but how much money are they going to have to give up to Watson? And then, in turn, whatever they have left over, can they do enough to help this team be more competitive the following year? That remains to be seen. And does Dan Snyder even want to trade those draft picks away? You know, think about it. It's good. The starting conversation has to be 2 number ones this year and next year, or if you are lucky enough to have 2 ones this year, that's where the conversation starts.
He says repeat Super Bowl. He thinks it's going to be Chiefs and Packers again, and he says, and this one will not sell out. How about that? Imagine if that happens. I just dropped that, for our fact of the day, and there you go. Because with COVID and everything, you're not allowed. People they're allowing some people.
But the thing is, it's going to be due to COVID. You can't sell out. Yeah, it's impossible.
You can't. So it's definitely not sell out. So you just need those teams to be there. I mean, amazing. How about that? Back in 1967 for it to happen here again. He goes, but my wife is 38 and I'm 59. Hate the game, not the player. Oh, nice. I love it. Yes.
Oh, it's awesome.
Excellent. Hey, you know what? Good for you, Don.
Congratulations.
Man, look at that. 59-38. Man, he is. He's got it going on,
He's the man.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. All right. He goes, I asked my question for a personal reason. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. Why? What do you got going on here, Nathaniel? What's up? You got personal reason. Why? You get in an argument with somebody here? Who is
Curious.
maybe the most underrated, in a sense? Interesting.
But here's the thing is depending on who you ask, that's going to change dramatically.
Well, then you start thinking of new names, too.
Yeah, because some people think of more recent receivers that are underrated. Some people think of way back when, like this guy should be, highly touted but isn't, Or there are guys that are already thought of as legends, but really it's because of a moment that they remember.
Right.
Like, oh, my God, this catch this guy made, and – yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
David Tyree is the most underrated wide receiver.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that. Like it could be a moment that brings you back to saying, "Oh, this guy should be great." So I mean,
like turtles.
And
that's good.
Turtles.
That's
there
good,
you
go. Jim. Turtles.
Josh Jacobs smoking weed. Here he goes.
I hope so.
So there you go. Is another question here? Yeah. Didn't he get caught with something on him or something or other like that?
Not that I know of. No. All I know is that he did not get charged with DUI. They officially charged him with leaving the scene of an accident type of deal, which is no big deal because it all gets sorted out.
Yeah, he says a debate competition tomorrow. I got my questions today. All right, excellent, cool. That's a really good question. I like it. What other ones do you want to throw out there? We'll appreciate hearing any of those questions. Anybody else out there?
I can come up with a list for you next week.
We'll take questions out there too. Now, it doesn't have to be about our topics. We throw our topics out here just so we have a basis of what to talk about.
Right.
What's going on in the news, but we were open to any questions you guys want to do out there as well. So on that note, let's take a peek at the bracket, what we have here so far. A lot of exciting games last week. And look at the Titans.
Games.
The Titans did go down just like that, a little lethargic, and they couldn't catch up. And now look, we've got the Bills. The Bills was in a close game.
Team.
I thought they were going to be a little bit of a closer. I mean, you got the Colts there, so that was a close game. But now here they are facing the Ravens. So this is going to be a really marquee game here. I mean, there's a lot of games this week that are going to be amazing. I think the Chiefs game, they're not exactly sold, I think, as the winner in that one, just because they've played throughout the season very not perfect like a lot of people think. You know what I mean?
No, not
Patrick
the way the record
showed.
looks.
Yeah, the record looks great, but the way they're playing, they barely skinned out some of these games here against these teams. So I could definitely see them not looking forward here to the Browns and kind of looking past them in a sense. And that could come up and bite them a little bit. The thing is, the Browns got to stay on top of them, though. The thing with teams, they let the Chiefs off the hook and allow them to come back into the game. And then by that time, you just turn around and the game's already flipped on you, and it's a game over for you. But we got some questions here. We go. Right now, underrated wide receivers are Adams, Boyd, and McLaren here. So was that Devonte Adams? And Tyler Boyd? Is that who that's supposed
Tyler
to be?
Boyd, because he's the only Boyd I know.
Yeah, the only one Boyd I know too, I think so. Interesting. I think Devonte Adams, if that's who that you're talking about, is He's getting a lot more headlines right now, so I don't think he's really underrated.
I definitely never thought he was underrated.
Right.
He's highly touted.
I think once he
kind of
hit the scene, it's been over. Maybe early on, but I think not to where even I noticed now with receivers. I talked to a couple of guys that are Joe runs a couple of flag leagues here, teams and stuff. I've talked to receivers now, and they're mimicking like what Devonte Adams does here at the line so much. Instead of getting off the line when there's a jam. Instead of trying to power through or use their arms, they're doing a lot more footwork, much like Devonte Adams. So I think a lot of guys are starting to watch him a lot more and notice some of that and trying to mimic what he does because he's doing some amazing stuff at elite level. Yes, guys, you're right. Green Bay, Cincy, and Washington. Yeah, so, yeah. McLaren. See, I don't know.
Terry McLaurin's not underrated.
Yeah, I don't think he's underrated either.
Nope.
Yeah, see, that's why I started looking back. Like, you even got guys that are playing right now.
Your underrated receivers should be guys that no one really knows, but they are very productive. You know what I mean? So it might not be the flashiest guy, and a lot of times you've never heard of this guy, or only a few people have heard of him, but he's not getting the respect.
Yeah, towards the end of the season, we actually do like an underrated player of the year for each team. And throw out some of those guys that you might not have noticed so much. So then when you do watch him play again, you're kind of like, oh, wow, yeah, he was kind of in the play. Yeah. And, it's not a big name. A.J. Brown, a badass. Yeah, definitely. And he really jumped on the scene last year. But, yeah, a lot of people, again, you look at underrated wide receiver, and you said even of all time, I think it was, or NFL history. So I was digging deep. So that's why I thought of, and thank you, Don Webb, for helping me out. Taylor right there on the side of Jerry Rice. That's what I mean. It was a nice duo. You always had Jerry Rice right there, but Taylor was awesome. He did well.
Taylor
too.
To me
right
is the perfect underrated type of receiver. Person the player to pick because he was not seen in that light that Jerry Rice was, but he was a very, very good receiver. So, but that to me would be the perfect argument for yourself.
He says Renfro, Humphrey, slot receivers underrated. I think so too, in a sense. But then it actually, when I was hearing you talk about that, Joe, it kind of reminded me of some other players, but it just left my head already. So why don't you bring up something that maybe I can remember? I can do the reback and blah blah.
Gotcha. So I mean that's a good point. I mean Hunter Renfro is actually like kind of interesting because when you look at him. Yeah. He doesn't look like an NFL player. Like he looks like a guy who belongs in medical school. Like he looks like a doctor, but he comes up with the most amazing plays. I mean, he's a receiver that keeps his balance extremely well. Isn't a big guy, more of a slender guy, but he seems to break tackles, make guys miss, and get the most out of every play he's given. So. I agree completely with him being as an underrated receiver for sure.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Do you know who it was?
Yeah.
I thought of that never really gets respected and hasn't really since even. I think Doug Baldwin is kind of underrated. I think he kind of gets overlooked in a sense. Like he plays really well and has been their starter until DK got there, and you also have Tyler Lockett there as well. But I thought he was kind of underrated.
I would have said yes, but when he became their number one guy, everybody knew who he was. Like it wasn't like nobody.
Yeah,
thought
but
he
nobody
was
was like, "Oh man, you just Doug Baldwin that guy," or he's like, "Oh man, watch him, he's gonna blow up."
Think about what you just said. Can you really just sitting there and say, "Oh, you've been Doug Baldwin"?
No, I'm just saying, dude.
No, he was. I mean, he wasn't really underrated.
Jamison Crowder.
Jamison Crowder, definitely.
Underrated. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely because he's one of the. I got in a little bit of an argument with somebody.
That's fine.
About Jamison Crowder
all the time.
And I was like, he's the most productive receiver. Even when he was in Washington, he was the most productive receiver. And they're like, no, he wasn't. I'm like, yes, he was.
Look
it up.
And then he just let him go. Yeah.
Even with the Jets, everyone wants to say how bad Sam Darnold was, but guess what? He found Crowder an awful lot, and Crowder is the most productive receiver on that team right now.
Baldwin and Lockett, similar players, he says. Here.
Lockett, I would say early on was underrated, and now that he's kind of made a name for himself, not so much.
Shout out to everybody out there watching with us. I appreciate it here. Shout out to Marty McCollum's in the house. Greg Schreiner is in the house with us, and Donald Spence all in the house with us here. We appreciate you guys checking us out here.
Thank you.
Let's hear you
Welcome
here
to
on
the
the
show.
comments section. You guys, any questions here? We're talking a little football. Some of the topics we already go through, you can see there too. But any questions you guys have out there, let's hear from you guys out there. But yeah, we took a look at the brackets here that we have moving forward. So let's get rocking and rolling here at our playoff picture here, Joe, and we can give you our picks on our quick preview with these guys. So let's start off with the Chiefs and the Browns here, Joe. What do you got with the Chiefs and the Browns? What do you expect here in this game? Chiefs coming off a bye.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of people are going to jump the gun on the Browns here. A lot of people are going to say there's no chance the Chiefs could possibly lose this game because the Browns are the Browns and the Chiefs are this undenying team that's going to make another Super Bowl run. But I give the Cleveland Browns a lot of credit. I mean, I think they've gone through a lot this year. They've had plenty of ups and downs early in the season, and then for them to come in with a lot of momentum into the playoffs, I mean, and not to mention, there's a guy they're getting back, which is pretty critical to this defense, is Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward did not play last week, and they still beat the Steelers up. So adding another big piece like that at corner for them is going to make this team stronger, and I can't wait to see if Olivier Vernon, I don't know how significant his injury was, if he's going to be able to come back to play in this game, but even if he isn't, this team is going to get better with Denzel Ward in the lineup, and the Browns, I think they kind of match up pretty good against Kansas City. I think they could make this game pretty interesting to the point where I'm not 100% sold on the Chiefs. I've seen them struggle throughout the season. Even Patty Mahomes, that everybody thinks is the greatest quarterback to ever live right now, I've seen him struggle from game to game. So if they can create pressure on Patrick Mahomes and try to keep him contained in that pocket, I'm gonna go ahead and take a big swing on this one, and I'm gonna give credit to the Browns. And I'm gonna say the Browns are going to get a squeak of a win in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think the Browns, they need to control the game here on the ground. Go all ground game here. Run the clock out. Keep the offense off the field here. Control the narrative for that game and limit mistakes. That's the key to this game here too. And Patrick Mahomes, yeah, he's made a few mistakes this year so far. I mean, yes, you can get the passing yards there to him, and he's had quite a bit of touchdowns out there too as well. But he's shown that he is not perfect. He still makes mistakes. He's still learning. He's still young in his career. That defense still has issues at times too. If it wasn't for Honey Badger in the back there too, making plays for them, I know, right? He seems like he's all over the ball, and he's like the only one in a sense doing things for them. But I think Cleveland is going to be a close game. It's going to be really tight. It's going to go back and forth. But I think overall, I see the Chiefs taking this. So we got to check out the line there. People are lighting it up though.
So he goes,
really
"You guys know your stuff. Not kissing A, just being real. You two are underrated. We appreciate that, bro."
Correct.
Really appreciate
it.
Thank
you
very much.
Thank you, Don. Don loves us, man. I appreciate it, Don.
I can't tell who that is.
It doesn't tell who it is.
But anyway, it says I might go Larry Fitzgerald, John Taylor, and my third guy being Crowder. Depends if I go first, second, or third. Yeah, I mean Larry. Yeah, not really underrated. A guy that's played amazing when he's on the football field. So. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
knows
Larry
who
is
that
one of the greats. He's a Hall of Famer.
Larry legend.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. If you look on the other side, see, again, if you want to talk about guys that are overshadowed possibly, that had a pretty good career but kind of get overlooked, they've gone from team to team. What about Anquan Bolden? You know, I mean, he was opposite of Larry Fitzgerald. Kind of everybody knew Larry over top of Anquan Bolden, but then he's gone from team to team. The 49ers, he won the Super Bowl there with the Ravens when they played the 49ers, but he's been a solid player throughout his career.
Yeah, I don't consider him underrated, though.
Yeah,
he had a pretty good name.
Still a pretty good name,
like,
too.
even before Larry got there, Anquan Bolden was the guy.
If you want to dig deeper to get it, you want to dig deep
Actually,
for a really good name.
You really have to do.
Really don't know.
You have to do your research. Like, you have to really compare, like, how productive this guy was, this non-player, if you will, to some of these bigger studs, and see, hey, he was pretty close.
Yeah,
with him.
Nathaniel, you could do better. You could do this.
But anyway, what else we got? We got Tampa Bay, Chiefs, Bills, Green Bay.
This is from Don.
Big boy ball this week. Doughboy will get exposed. D Ward from Ohio State. Boom.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
So then we got Larry Fitzgerald, top 10 ever, not underrated. And we got I am going with the Browns. I don't think the Chiefs have a good run game. And actually, they've been without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which has really shown how their offense struggles if they don't have a really good running back taking that rock. So let's see what happens this week. Le'Veon Bell from Columbus, Ohio, but went to Michigan State. Alvin Harper is a great underrated player. Yeah, I mean, I could see Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper was pretty good.
Yeah.
I put Larry over Jerry Rice. Whoa. We got shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired here.
Man.
Oh, my goodness.
Larry Legend over Jerry Rice.
Man.
That's how you take down a motherfucker.
I mean, I've heard some people say they would take Calvin Johnson over Jerry Rice. I've heard some people say T.O. Everybody seems to forget Terrell Owens and how dominant he was as a receiver. A guy that size and that great, phenomenal shape who could run super fast and catch everything. I mean, that was pretty dangerous too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one. Carl Pickens, underrated. Ooh. That is a really good one. I like that one a lot. That definitely that hits.
There you go. There we got some good ones here, everybody. We really appreciate it out there.
I like it. Spitballing here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Nathaniel says he's going here with the Browns. I don't think the Chiefs have a good running game. Yeah, I know.
Not without Edwards.
No, not without Edwards-Helaire. So, I mean, definitely they get that stifled there. And even with all the weapons, though, too, Travis Kelce having a lights-out year.
Yeah.
You still have Tyreek Hill there and stuff, but they are just not playing, up to par, I think, of what they're capable of being. I mean, they're not that dominant team.
But I mean, I don't know what the injury report is, but is Edwards-Helaire available to return this week? Because if he can, that's going to definitely change the game.
Yeah, definitely. It would help him out. I don't know if he's practicing or not. We'll find out from that. I'm sure you guys will look it up out there. Rice and MJ, case closed.
LeBron and Moss, great.
But come on, man. Oh, man. What? He's
going all over
the you're pairing them together? Oh, man. That is crazy. It's a triple.
Oh, baby, a triple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But he's mixing basketball, football. It's just all messed up, man.
It's hybrid.
Yeah,
he's got a
hybrid
scenario going.
He's got to throw a baseball player on then, too, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it. All right. But anyways, all right, so we got the Chiefs and the Browns.
Okay.
I'm going Chiefs. Joe's going Browns.
All right.
All right, so what's next here on the agenda? We've got, let's go with the Bills and the Ravens here. This is another tough game. Again, Ravens coming in red hot. First half of the season, not so good, but now they've got the ball moving. Lamar seems like he's got it dialed in here. A more accurate passer when he needs it here, but still being able to let loose.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let out his legs here.
Sorry, Jim. Sorry to cut
questionable
you off.
Still. Yeah, Edwards-Helaire. Yep, still questionable.
But
so
this
we'll
is
see.
The playoffs, man.
Again,
they
probably will.
Don't you gotta step up.
He's gonna
right
try.
Now?
I know he's gonna try to get in there.
So anyway,
you can't just quit the
Ravens
the season
Bills.
Here.
What a matchup! And I'm sorry, this game.
Big red machine, baby.
I would have loved to see this game in the championship. You know what I mean? The AFC championship game, because this one is going to be amazing. I feel they both have stout defenses. They both have an offense that's capable of racking up points like no other. So this game, who knows what we're going to see? Could it be defensive? Could it be just an offensive juggernaut, high-scoring game? Or is it going to be a mixture of both? Some turnovers, maybe. This is going to be interesting, none to say the least. Ravens Bills in Buffalo. Listen, I picked the Bills to win the division. I really like what they've done so far. Now, I think this game is super close to call, but I'm going to go with the Bills on this. I just am. I think the Ravens probably win this game, but I'm going to go with the Bills because I feel like their defense, their secondary is a little bit better than the Ravens, and maybe they might be able to do some more damage than Baltimore. The key is to keep Lamar off the field. So establish the run game. If they can do that, then they might have this game. So I'm going to go Buffalo. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah, well, the problem is, too, it's tough for the Bills because they haven't been able to really establish the run game that much. I mean, they just go and get Devonta Freeman there off the free agent wire, too, as well, to try and help them out with Zach Moss going down. Again, trying to keep them off the field. These guys are red hot. Their defense is playing good. The Bills, again, need to be able to play up to these big games. They have throughout the season, which has looked good, when they took out some of these teams. But now when you look at the Steelers, how good really were they? So this is going to be a close game still. I really like the Bills in this one as well. But I'm going to go with the Ravens. Just because, again, I think they've got the hotter fire going right now. They're rocking and rolling. They've got it dialed in, and I think they're just playing really well. And I think the Bills, I'm just waiting for that Bills moment. If the Bills win, though, I'm excited too because, I'm a New Yorker. Where this is the team that's left over here, and I would love to see the Bills go through and win a Super Bowl. But this is the way I set it up when I pick games. I go with the Ravens, so then I feel good because I might have win that one. If I lose and the Bills go, hey, the Bills are in. I'm happy. Whatever.
The other thing too is that I feel like the Bills for this game, they have way more weaponry. In terms of wide receivers, when you look at the Ravens, that's where I'm a little concerned here for the Baltimore is. They're going to have to really heavily rely on Lamar in being that dual threat guy. Like he's going to have to run the ball as well as throw the ball in order for them to get this win. But this is going to be a matchup for the ages, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we've got it. He has 4 more questions here. Let me get back to, again, Big Red Machine. Don says, Bills Mafia. Bills to the Super Bowl. There you go. He's calling it there.
All right.
Wait a minute. Didn't you just say the Chiefs and the Packers were going to go? It's very confusing.
Don't read too much into it. Don't read too much
but anyway,
into it.
I have 4 other questions, but I have – there he goes. I have the Bills. All right, there you go. I have 4 other questions, but I have my answers set for it Sunday. Okay. I just got an update. It is Sunday, not tomorrow. Oh, there you go. So Sunday,
so you got some time to kill.
So you got some time. Do you want to throw those out there, or you don't want to leak your answers, or you want to test them out here so see what our know-it-alls want to say to some of these? Maybe if you want to. Don't want to spoil your show, though. I understand that, too. I know Nathaniel does a show out there, and he covers the teams after the games and things like that. I think on Sundays and on Mondays, but now we don't have Monday Night Football anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to throw them out there, we really appreciate it out there, and we love to talk it all the time. We can talk for hours about this stuff.
In fact, we've talked over 4 hours.
We have. One of our longest shows was 4 hours here, and it was lights out. We had so many people on in the comments, and it was nuts. It was a good time. Speaking of a good time, in 2 weeks, Joe is going to be paying his debt here and drinking the football-shaped glass of liquor here. It's basically the same size as the football, full of liquor. I think we picked out Jack Daniels.
Yes,
it's going to be a blast. Joe has a good time with it. We have some fun, so make sure you check that out in 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. We're going to really enjoy it.
I just may need a ride home. That's what I'm saying.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, luckily you don't live far. All right. He goes, I did, but said they can make it, but not will make it. I don't know what that means.
Okay,
but,
moving
see,
on.
I hate reading things. Anyways.
Moving on. What we got?
Right,
the Rams,
I got the
Packers?
Rams and Packers. How about that? Rams and Packers. Rams, I was surprised about them coming through with that because I wasn't sure what the quarterback situation, what they had going on.
Right.
You saw another Cam Akers sighting. Holy moly. Cam Akers rock and rolling here with them.
He's hot now.
But they kind of paid the price in that game. They have injuries with Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp. And, again, you're not sure about the quarterbacks here. And then again, you're not sure what they're going to see this week. Is Goff going to be able to play? Like, what is it here? Is Aaron Donald going to be able to, I don't think Aaron Donald practiced this week so far. So what are we going to get out of them? And the Packers have been lights out all year, and it kind of surprised me in a sense, too, and how steady they've been and consistent because they almost, not like the Bills, but they have times, too, where they're kind of just, will just flop a game and be like, oh, man. And you saw it earlier on in the season to where they're like, oh, man, we just were not in the game. We didn't get it right. I don't know if, Aaron Rodgers had said it. We just weren't in it. We messed up, but we'll get it back. We just got to dial it back in. and they have games like that. This could potentially be one of those types of games here, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, and this game is going to be pretty good. I mean, you got the Rams that have been playing lights out on defense, and that's really been their backbone of this team. It really hasn't been the offense so much as the defense. Defense comes to play every single week. They're going to come back this week, and they're going to try to get after Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Donald, I'm hearing, is going to play. He has a really good chance of returning into the lineup and playing. I mean, after all, this is the playoffs. It's like sudden death. You got to get it done. So Rams and Aaron Donald in this defense coming into Green Bay. Now, here's the thing is the Rams are a warm weather team, and they're going to be coming into Green Bay where, about this time of the year, it's pretty darn cold out. The Rams are just really, I don't know if they're going to be able to acclimate well enough to the weather and up to par to play against the Packers in the weather conditions. So Packers, they got Aaron Rodgers. He's hotter than ever. This offense is really just taking off, and their defense is starting to turn the corner late in the season, now into the playoffs. They're pretty hungry too. So I have a lot of questions with the Rams offense with Jared Goff. He was able to throw, which was impressive to me. I can't believe he made some throws. In Wolford, I don't know how that's going to play this week. Are they going to go all Wolford? Is Goff able to go at all? I feel like he will be, but it could hurt them as well too. I'm going to go with the home team in the weather conditions and all. Packers all the way.
There you go. I'm going to go with the Packers too as well, just because so many questions on the Rams also. But really even depends. It's going to be Packers offense versus Rams defense here if Aaron Donald is especially able to play. Because, again, that Packers, the question with them is how is that defense going to play? Because they've been up and down throughout the season. And you've seen Zadarius Smith be a key player along with them. But then other guys in the secondary as well just getting exposed in a sense, and it's not been all on the same page here, so that's been their weak part. So let's see how their defense plays in this game, but like the Packers as well. We've got a lot of comments in there. I'm going to rip through you guys here. And I know Don Webb was out there. He was saying that he was clarifying that he said that Bills can make it, which I understand that now. So, I mean, he wasn't saying it was – but he's saying it was his bad grammar, and it wasn't. He has fat fingers. Sorry. But,
really nice.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's like it's me reading into it. That's all. I really appreciate it. And I'm amazed how – see, this is what happens. See, I'm a Michigan fan. Don's an Ohio State fan. But we get along. I love this guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love that he tunes in with us and he gives us all the information and stuff like that. I really appreciate interacting with him. It's a lot of fun here. And Nathaniel has the Bills himself. He says that for his show there, he has a question that he's going to be doing out there. And most overrated quarterback is one of the questions he has too as well.
Okay.
Is that current of all time? You know what I mean? Overrated quarterback. That one could be very debatable, too. I see a lot of people saying different things about that. He said it's the most important position in football. But what else do we got here? That's probably Don right there. MLB, NFL, NBA, and NHL. Which team has the worst fan base? No, that's probably Nathaniel, isn't it? It's getting all screwed up because of this damn chat box here with Restream. I love using a Restream because we can do YouTube with you guys, and we can do Facebook all at the same time.
Multiple platforms.
But damn it, this chat box is so messed up half the time. It really pisses me off.
It doesn't tell us who they are.
So it's Nathaniel. Nathaniel's throwing those. These are all of his questions. He's hitting us all here at once.
All right.
The last one is a Braves question. That's great, too, because I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. I don't know if you threw that out there just because of me. I'm just going to assume you did.
It's not always all about you.
Whatever. It's about me. You know. Wilford concussion last week, so he might be in protocol even coming up this week, is what Don says. The weather in Green Bay for Saturday is 34 and snowy showers. Sunday, 28 and dropping. So there you go. Just the way the Packers like it there. How are the Rams going to handle it? A warm weather team playing in nice sunny SoFi Stadium. I think it's going to be pretty rough for them then. I think the Packers are going to take that game. Now, let's get back to Nathaniel Evans here. Joe, we'll throw it out there. What do you think about the overrated quarterback of all time? He says it right there, right?
All time?
Perfect timing.
Oh, I got two for you. I got Joe Namath and I got Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah. I like that. We got to do our Horatio Kane segment. You know, it's going to be perfect when we do that, you know? Yeah. Don's got perfect ones. I'm sure he'd have a lot of fun with that. So what did you say, Joe Montana?
Joe Namath and Terry Bradshaw.
Overrated? Oh, yeah. Oh, I should have known you had said that. Yep, there you go. That's true. Yeah, I
had that locked in the chamber.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you took mine. No. Overrated? Oh, man.
You can pick the same one. You don't have to, really.
I know. Well, I'm trying to think of ones that people really liked. You know, at the time, I thought RG3 was overrated. You know, in his first rookie year, everybody thought he was stupendous.
The 1 year he played,
and blah, blah, blah. They were loving him. They're on
the 1 year he
RG3,
played.
we love you. And where's he now? You know what I mean? It's like, there you go.
1 year, bro.
You know?
There's not... You got to have a body of work.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too.
Overrated.
You know? And I'm not willing to say that about some guys. You know, and what? Who's shots fired somewhere? Where's that? What is that, man? Who did that? Which one? I'm gonna find out who that is, man. There you go. Shots fired. Shots fired. Here goes. Yeah, that's probably Don. Eli Manning, overrated. Is that Don?
I agree with Joe Theismann. That's
Joe
another
Theismann?
good one.
I think so too.
Tony Romo?
Don there. No, it's Nathaniel. Nathaniel, you got to do me dirty like that, man.
Huh?
Man, Nathaniel, it's coming like this. Yeah, there you go. That's what Nathaniel's coming at me like this with Eli Manning. Man, I don't think he's overrated. Who had ever said he's gotten grief his whole career about how he's not that good? You know, he might have thought so in his own mind. I'll give you that much. But as far as, you know, people giving him all kinds of extra credit, I don't think he really got that so much. You know, that's a real punch to the nuts here. I really... Man, that hurts me, Nathaniel. I thought we were good. No. but I love it, though. I think I only came up with one then. I guess, you know, RG3 was one. If I thought about it, you know, and dug through, but you guys don't want to sit here and watch me think. That would be pretty non-interesting. Yeah. 119 is Eli's record. Yeah, but you know what? That's a team record.
Yeah.
There's, you know, what kind of, you know, people did he have around him, especially in some of those years when you had terrible hedge coaching, too, as well.
On. You win the Super Bowl with David Tyree.
Yeah.
Receiver.
He threw it right on the money there while guys were all over him. Threw it right where it needed to be.
Who else was it? Was it Ike Hilliard? Who else was it?
What? When he made the other one? The other receiver that made the other catch?
I'm trying to remember his name.
Manningham?
Manningham.
Yeah, Mario Manningham made the catch in stride.
Manningham. Like, you got receivers like that, and you won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's because you were deadly accurate.
And I get they had a good defense there, too. But and this is what you're talking about when you got teams that are red hot and playing. And why it could be any given Sunday, too, as well. That particular year, the David Tyree year, they played the Patriots the last week of the season, I think it was. And I remember watching that game when we worked at Jillian's together.
Yeah.
I'm watching on the big screen TV, and I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, I don't know if we have a shot. And I'm watching the game. I'm like, we can actually beat these guys. And I'm like, we could win. So then when it came down to where they are in the Super Bowl, I was all in. I was like, the Giants can win this game. We're going to win.
I gotta disagree with that.
Oh, here we go. What do we got here?
He says Eli Manning, a winner, 2 Super Bowls, not overrated. But Stafford is way overrated. No way is he overrated.
This guy stinks.
No way.
No,
you gotta listen. Just because the team doesn't win a lot of games.
What?
No way can you say Stafford is overrated, because I've seen some amazing plays that this guy's had. Not to mention, if you want to talk about comeback wins, this guy has almost the most in all time. So, I mean, the guy is an ultimate quarterback. He's amazing.
Are just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like certain guys get stamped with something. This is the thing with Matthew Stafford.
Stigma about him.
It's the Lions abyss for one. You play for the Lions, so that automatically sucks you in to where, you know, unless you're doing super great outside of everything, you're not really noticed. You're kind of lost in the abyss. He, in his first couple seasons, actually now of his career, he has hit record stats for yardage, completions, faster than a lot of quarterbacks have in their careers. He's up there with Joe Montana and some of these other guys. I know it's Peyton Manning, I think. Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, I think, for quickest to get to 10,000 yards and things like that. He did it in his first 2-3 years. And so he's up there in milestones. And toughness he has. He's played through injuries, getting it done with what kind of help? He had Calvin Johnson for a while. But
yeah, he had Calvin.
But still, everything else around him, no running game. Defense was subpar, and garbage, receiver or coaches out there, helping him out.
Yeah, the guy's amazing. I mean, what he's able to do with nothing around him, there's no way you can make that argument. Yeah, but he says here Stafford gets garbage yards because he throws picks early. Man. What?
What?
Garbage yards is at the end of the game.
This is what I like, though. You know what, Nathaniel? I'll give it to you, too, on this one, just because if you're coming at everybody in your show with these questions and stuff, it's going to be a great show for you because I love it. See, this is what happens when you bring up good questions like this because it's debatable. You guys can bring up all kinds of stuff about a guy and feel a certain way and see what you see, and we see what we see. Lions is my pick for the worst franchise. Lions have one playoff win since 1957.
That's because the Lions don't care about winning. They just care about getting people in the seats, making money off of everybody. I mean, that's the thing.
That was from Nathaniel. Worst franchise. Yeah, probably at this point, they probably would have to be. I mean,
they have to be. They don't build around anybody.
They don't really.
They'll get a great draft pick like Stafford, and then they just don't do enough to make that team as good as they possibly can. They just kind of like, we're good enough to, hey, look, come watch Matt Stafford.
Here we go, Don with the NBA stuff again here. Stafford is like Dominique Wilkins stats, but ... I mean, what are you saying? Dominique Wilkins is a great player, though.
Wait, can Stafford dunk?
I don't know.
That's what
he might be able
like.
to. I mean, Megatron is he said Megatron, come on.
Megatron, come on what?
I know, yeah. He's a great receiver, if you want to say that.
And he threw it to him a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, he did. I understand that. I mean, you can't say that he's overrated, I think.
No.
I would disagree with that. But if you guys say he is too, that's your opinion
he's
too.
Done a lot more with less.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so great questions here by Nathaniel. We love it. We love it out there. All right, let's finally get to our last matchup here before we get up out of here, and it is the Saints and the Buccaneers. Look at this. We get to see the Saints and the Buccaneers again, Joe, this year. Isn't this amazing? I can't wait for this one, It's going to be a close game still between these guys. These guys, it's going to be Brady versus Breeze. Again, they're going to paint it out like that and stuff, but I think the Saints have the upper hand in this whole thing. They already beat them twice this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're winning, but they're not rolling people. I mean, look at it this way. They had the talent there already, but then Brady says, hey, let's go get my buddy Gronk to join us. Hey, let's get Shady McCoy to come in too. Oh, let's get Antonio Brown up in here too. It sounds to me like he's trying to live the glory days back with his old homies and things like that. Like when you see a GM that gets a job that's been a GM for years, and then all of a sudden he's getting older players that are already past their prime. Like, oh, these guys are going to be studs for my team. Look at these names I'm getting. It's like a first person when they first join a fantasy league, and then they're joining. They're like, oh, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to get Gronk's my number one tight end. This guy's my guy. And you're kind of looking at him like, what are you doing, dude? Like, no. It's like, but he heard of those names. That's what kind of reminds me with this team. And they're not playing up to what I think their potential could have been. And the Saints already showed them how it's done here, too. Beat them both times. The Saints team is just playing better. They have Michael Thomas healthy. Alvin Kamara still a stud here back there. Drew Brees just, in these big games, limit the mistakes, buddy. I know your arm isn't the same as it's been, but you're still a great quarterback. I think you're into question, too, for one of the greatest of all times. I like the Saints in this one, Joe.
And that's the thing, too, is that, you got the Buccaneers. Yeah, they're the team that kind of made a big turnaround. They got all these weapons all put together, and their defense is pretty good. But the Saints got the band back together again. They got Drew Brees back. He's healthy now. They have Michael Thomas back. He's healthy now. Caught a touchdown pass last week. And don't forget Jared Cook. Really good tight end for them with Alvin Kamara. And this defense that they have for the Saints. They're all going to come to play. This is going to be a great game, but I just see the Saints edging out the Buccaneers in the end. It could come right down to a field goal at the end to win the game. So I think this is going to be a great game regardless. It's going to be fun to watch. I got the Saints.
All right, there you go. There's our picks for the week. Don Webb here, he says he's got to go, gents, reading Gardner Files. James Garner, a.k.a. Jim Rockford Files. There you go. I used to watch that when I was younger, man. That's some good stuff right there. My man, Don Webb, it's a pleasure every time you're on here with us. We really appreciate you. Much love from the heart, and roll Tide. I appreciate that. All right. That's the only time I'll say that. Trust me, I got to go use mouthwash after that.
Sick.
But anyways, we appreciate you guys joining us here with our show tonight. It's kind of a shorter one here, but not a whole lot going on here. We're talking playoffs though. We really appreciate the interaction with everybody. If you haven't yet, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button here on Football on the No Show. Check out some of our old videos too. We have some old funny clips. I am going to start editing some other ones, throw them out there. Plus, we have some news coming up that I worked out a thing. Now we are going to be on Amazon Prime pretty soon. I'm getting it in the works right now, but pretty soon you'll be seeing us on Amazon Prime, and you guys can check that out. We'll keep you guys posted when we can do that, and hopefully I'll just post a bunch of little tidbits and things like that for everybody out there. Anything else, Joe?
No, you just said what I was going to say. So.
Oh, boom. There you go. I ain't going to lie, it says here. I don't know if this is Nathaniel or not, but it says, I won't lie, I completely had to change my lineup entirely. It is. In both my leagues, I ended up being crowned champion in both leagues. There you go. So, I mean, you never know sometimes with fantasy. It's up and down. You never know. But I'm done with fantasy. I ain't doing it anymore. And we're done with the show here tonight. We really appreciate it. Nathaniel, much love, brother, too, as well. Enjoy your show. There were a lot of good questions out there. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.